The AEW TNT Championship has been showcasing AEW's mid card and up and coming talents. It's provided some breakout moments and some stars like Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Miro, even though you haven't seen them on TV. But has it built a legacy of significance? Let's get to it. Welcome to season 3 of Championship Culture. I'm Brandon the Guy Guy, and remember, every belt has a story. Now, he might be, not on screen, but he's always with us. Got to give a shout out to the one, the only, the super producer. H to the A, to the S to the T, to the 3, to the R to the D, has the third. He's here with us, just not on screen. But I do have somebody to bring on screen with us. Now, when you talk about AEW TNT title, that TNT championship, in a short amount of time, there hasn't been a belt that has had more ups, more downs, but we're here to talk about what's significant about it. In order to do this justice, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a preview of who we got coming with us, right? Because tonight marks a special night. Why is it so special, Brandon? Well, I'm going to tell you why. You know, throughout Championship Culture Season 2, Season 3 has the last of the four sides of the ring joining us tonight. He's not only, sorry, that might be too loud. He might can't hear me. He's not only the last side of the ring to join Championship Culture, he's a comic book enthusiast who will get all the references I'm going to make tonight. A lifelong wrestling fan, and apparently he likes a lot of sports. Because if you missed, before the tip, because we be beyond the tip at the end, him and the super producer were having a whole sports conversation. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to bring to you the other side of the ring, Mr. Chano himself. He might be one of the Bench Brothers, but come on, Chano, let the people see who you are.
Yeah, how we doing today?
The music might have been a little bit too loud, and the founder might be a little
Uh,
jealous that you got the music too. I can't let my favorite hear that you got the music. Chano, welcome, brother.
thank you for having me, man.
Now you
Just
know this night is going to be a lot of facts, and it's all centered around a certain belt. But before we get to that center around that belt, right? And I'm gonna just leave this here and start the preview for it, right? Brother, tell the people who you are. Who is Channel? Who is I don't want to call you the bad guy, that's Brandy Savage. But you are the other side of the ring.
um,
Um,
it's hard to talk. It's hard to talk about myself, man.
mhm.
It's like when you're in a job interview and it's like, tell us about yourself, and it's like, and it's hard not to give like a non-serious answer. But you know me, I'm Channel Hayes, Channel Rose, Channel the God, Channel whoever you need me to be. Honestly, I'm a one-stop shop for everything. I probably have way too many hobbies. If you ask my wife, I need to cut down to some of them. Like the guy said, I love comics, I love sports, sneakers, everything. It's a little too much. I don't know how much time throughout the day. But listen, I am the
He likes the
fourth.
Knicks.
I love the Knicks. We're getting smacked right now, but it's crazy.
It's okay though, because guess what?
It
It just might not be that night, right?
it's a long season. It's 82
Okay.
games.
All right.
It's
Yeah. So
just
it might
when you
just
it just sucks when you opening night you getting smacked about 25 points. It's it's not a great feeling. But yeah,
yeah.
listen, man, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. When I get nervous, I say random things.
But it's okay. Because the one thing that you can't say around here, yes, it must be Tuesday, because look who's here. And look, already starting with the questions. I'm gonna let you address this question before we get into this um hefty topic of breaking down the history of the evolution of the AEW TNT Championship. Go ahead, let Justin know what's your favorite sneaker of all time.
Uh of all time, it kind of I had to go with the classic silhouette, right? And I had to go with the classic bread ones. Simple, timeless, classic. My favorite color, red, and the black just makes it a perfect silhouette.
So
If you
next
ask
time
my
else we need
favorite
to
Jordan
come.
right now, the PSNY 12s, the all matte gray, beautiful. I do have a pair, but I messed up. I had a little bit of car issues, and my car died, and I had the
Oh,
sneakers in my trunk.
oh
So
no.
that being said, it was really hot. It was during the summertime, so I have separation of my midsole. So I need to find somebody who can glue the midsole back together because they
Gotcha.
do look crazy.
It's okay. It's still in your possession. And
Oh
it seems
yeah.
like this might turn into a question and answer for your introduction. They're doing the introduction for you. Looking like a Mark said, favorite Power Ranger of all time. This has gotten interesting real fast, and
Um,
we haven't even hit the first thing that I got over my shoulder. But go ahead, tell, because now I'm
ooh,
interested. Who is your favorite Power Ranger of all time?
it's hard. It's hard, man. Obviously, it's a Red Ranger. I just said red's my favorite color.
A Red Ranger. You gotta give us
It's
which
a.
one.
No, no,
Which one?
I know. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Andros space. I
Didn't
think.
strike me as an Andros person, but okay, we're gonna let that be. We're gonna let that be. I'm gonna let you sit on that one because that didn't think you would say that, but all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a huge fan of all things comics. Surprised that he went to Power Rangers. All things wrestling, just about all things sports. But I'm gonna see how all elite he's gonna be tonight.
Oof.
Because oh, you see that, right? You see what I did there?
Oof.
Because the AEW TNT Championship has undergone multiple, when I say multiple title reigns, I think this is the belt within AEW history that's probably changed hands the most, right? And it remains an essential part to what AEW still is trying to build this brand upon. But in order to do it justice, we got to talk about the beginning, right? And before we get to the beginning, we're gonna we're gonna just put this question on screen, and I'm gonna answer it by saying it's not Dwayne. Um, who's your favorite? Are you? Is he saying that you're his favorite co-host? Because y'all are the bench brothers. No, he's not the bench brother. Your bench brother is Marcus, right?
My favorite co-host. I gotta show love to the guy that's still on vacation to the Zombie King. Right now, he's in
He's been
Bora
on vacation for
Bora.
6 months. It's
Listen,
literally been about 6 months.
it's a paid vacation. We paying it.
He's been gone for about 6 months. So anybody that's
We
ever watched one of the episodes of Four Sides of the Ring, the Zombie King, professional wrestler. I don't think he been wrestling. He been hitting the gym and on the beach. That's all I'm gonna say. He been
nah,
on vacation for at
he's
least 6 months.
nah, he's been
I've been
wrestling. He's
following.
been wrestling.
And
He's
look,
been
all I see
wrestling.
is on the beach or in the gym. So,
Listen,
uh,
he's on a paid vacation.
so
Gotta
I'm
show
sorry, I
love to the
missed this one.
zombie.
Look, we're gonna get to this topic, but I think they having too much trouble. I mean, fun trying to figure out who you are. You can say my all-time favorite Jordan is a 11. Oh, okay. Black, red, and white. You cannot go wrong with that combination. That's what I'm talking
You
about.
can't.
Black, red, and white just looks good on anything. Um, but then he says the Flint 13s are his second favorite.
I
Okay,
love I love the Flint. My issue with the 13s is I love foam posits, right? I love foams.
you do.
I love foam posits. But the thing with the 13 foam posits are bulky. Flints are bulkier. They're a super bulky shoe that only go with like boot cut jeans. You know what I
Point
mean?
taken. Because if you got some
I
straight leg or some relaxed fit, it look like they sitting inside. You look like
exactly.
you
I
got
feel like
clown shoes on. They look bigger than
I
what
feel like
you
I got
were.
exactly. I feel like a dinosaur. You know what I mean? Like
I know the super producer's backstage. I can't see his face. He's probably making all these type of gestures. Actually, he should just. I told him he should have jumped off for this one, but he said he gonna let you have the time. And all I'm gonna say is this: we're gonna leave that there. I want you to park that there, founder, because I want the founder to come back to that when we get to that part. I'm gonna just let that sit there, but we're gonna come back to that. Do you have a couple other things to shout out? Look at this. Sorry, Dennis. I don't know why I was gonna say Dust. Dennis King saying, "What's up, my fellow belt lovers? Yeah, ain't no NWA love tonight. It's all about your favorite AEW." So I know that's why Dennis tuned in because he's interested to see about the evolution of this title. Um, look, there's my
Child the
favorite for
perfect.
Four Sides of the Ring. Yeah, okay, I'll take that.
That's a crazy nickname. I like that one though. Channel the perfect.
Yeah, because you got the Savage, you got a Knit Ram that's make you say all damn, and you got the Founder, and now we got Channel the Perfect.
Perfect. Channel the perfect go hard. That's my new PSN name.
So
We don't
listen.
respect fancies.
It ain't gonna be no safe answers because I'm telling you, when we get to this history, It's gonna be insane. All right. So so let's dive into this because this is like they're gonna keep all right, look now I got to. He says don't have any phones. I've always missed out on the resale and out of
You
pocket for
did miss
real.
out. I will say that you
And
did miss out because for a good 6 years, foams were unpopular
and
and
then
the
all of a
value
sudden they
for
just
them were
score
kind of
fire.
low. And now they're coming out. Now they're back going to come up. They're re-releasing the classic colorways, so it's definitely hard to go get a pair. I have a pair of coppers which go with everything, but I haven't seen a
Really?
pair of cough drops and a good pair of cough drops in a while. If you don't know what the cough drops are, it's an all black silhouette with the red bottom, kind of like a bread foam in a sense, and it's excuse me, it's beautiful, beautiful silhouette. I love me a good foam posit.
Who knew you could come to championship culture and get a lesson on some shoes?
Listen, I will say this: you about to see me and the guy here next week, sneaker coaching.
Good, right. It's like every shoe has a soul. Put it on a shirt.
That's money, yo.
Every
we go
we're
do a
gonna see
change
that on
on
the Nike ad. We're gonna see it
all
on the
those
Nike ad tomorrow. I'm like,
belts in the back will be Jordans. Just give us
right,
a week.
just change it. Yeah, just change them out. Just put them all. They were like, what happened to the background? So look, all right, here we go. Here we go. All right, I promise, ladies and gentlemen, that was fun, but we about to have some fun because when you talk about the evolution of a title, right? In order to understand where it came from, you got to understand that it was created during the time of the pandemic, right? It was a mid card title reflecting, almost like AEW's television network that is on, of course, being the TNT, right? It, of course, was introduced. It was an 8-man tournament, and the finals took place over Double or Nothing on pay per view on May 23rd, 2020. Now, this is at the height of the pandemic. Fans weren't allowed, I'm sorry, not at the height, the beginning of the pandemic. So to understand where we are in this time frame, and it felt like it was like 30 years ago, but it was only 4, right? And we saw the unfinished championship hit our screens, right? We had the inaugural champion before he became Cody Raheem. He was just Cody Homelander Rhodes. Became the first TNT champion after defeating Lance Archer, right, in the finals. But Cody Reigns was made notable only because he did like open challenges. He was, the original politician, you might want to call him. He was, trying to make this title relevant, right? And the initial belt design was unfinished, of course, due to the pandemic. But we got a later version, but we're going to sit on this unfinished one, right? Before we break down this title, channel, was Cody the right one to debut a unfinished belt, or should it have been somebody else?
Um, Cody was the right answer. Allegedly, I don't know how true this is, but I've heard Cody was supposed to be the first AEW World Champion, but he didn't want to put the belt on himself. So they gave that to Jericho, who was a familiar face and a familiar name for the network. That makes sense. Makes sense, right? So you kind of do the same thing with Cody Rhodes. Not only does Cody have the legacy, third generation superstar after his pops, Dusty, and you know his older brother, Dustin Rhodes, also known as Gold Dust. So he has the family lineage. He has the name. He wrestled on WWE for years. You know who this man is. And if you just started watching wrestling for like first time in 10 years, he's blonde now. That's the only thing that changed. He has a different moveset and he's blonde. So he was the perfect person to introduce a network belt in that sense. Even though I think it's completely vain because what if TNT never re-signed him? You know what I mean? And then it goes to a different network. Then you just gotta not even scrap a whole entire design. You gotta rename the belt. But yes, Cody was the right answer. He was the only answer.
And see, with the open title format, we were introduced to stars like Ricky Starks, who people only knew from NWA, and he was the NWA television champion. And then we got, indie. I don't want to say superstar because I don't want to downplay it, but I don't want to overplay it either. You know, Eddie Kingston, who had been on the Indies for years, the man behind Shakara. We got because of that open challenge format. It wasn't just AEW stars; it was introducing different things. Did this help with a brand new belt? Because remember when this belt was introduced, it was introduced as another championship, not as a secondary title, not as a world champion, but it was looked at as the other championship, right? So now you got these outside people coming in that are familiar to wrestling fans, challenging for an AEW championship. Did that help or hurt?
I think it helped. You know what I mean? Because AEW was introduced as the alternative. It was for wrestling fans by wrestling fans. You can say whatever you want about TK. TK loves wrestling, like genuinely loves wrestling, right? So he generally has a good idea of who all these guys are, and it's done great for their business. Because you think of guys like Eddie Kingston and Ricky Starks, well, not Ricky right now because he's kind of in a middle ground, lukewarm situation. We don't know what's happening. But Eddie Kingston has become a main staple of AEW television. So this as his introduction, and I don't know if you're familiar with Eddie Kingston at all, chat or audience, but his first promo against Cody Rhodes when he came in was amazing. There's one, listen, Eddie Kingston might look like he has a Big Mac before every single match and he smokes Newport 100s, but that man can cut a promo. That man can cut a promo. And he's from New York. He went to All In and Wembley in a Knicks Ewing jersey. So that's my guy forever, right? But it's a good strategy. It's a good strategy. You have a brand new championship. You have these indie stars. I'll call Eddie Kingston an indie star because everybody in the indie is an indie star unless you're just starting out. If you have a fan base, you're a star to somebody. You have these indie stars come in, fight for the championship, establish themselves on the roster. That's the only thing you can really ask for.
And so, Dennis seems to think Cody was a perfect one
He was.
for this belt. But Shadow hit the nail on the head. When AEW started, all they knew are former WWE stars. By putting it on Cody and using the challenge and to showcase the rest on the roster, I was introduced to other stars, which I think it did his job. And to the founder's point, he said the TNT title wouldn't need a name change because the argument is TNT is a form of dynamite. So they could have just carried the name on, and the TBS is a different story. But
Touche.
now we know a little bit about the history. I don't know if people really, well, I'm going to show you the picture of Cody Rhodes again. If you look at this Cody Rhodes picture, right, the belt just looks very plain, right? And when you say plain, it's very flat. But then when you look at so I have a replica made that was made by, you know, it wasn't made by official AEW because the only one that official you could get was on a red strap and gold. The second version, which we'll get to, but the version I have, and I'm gonna just break it down a little bit for you. The center plate, you can tell, is completely unfinished, right? It's just all silver, basic TNT logo, black championship banner has the red, but it's still just like oval design, patterns on the side, which kind of remind me of the etching on the wing eagle. If you look at it closely, the center plate. Let me do it this way. And this design, oval basic design, kind of like a callback to a original format of a belt. Because look how basic the side plates are. It has this house that at times was told it was the executive of TNT, but then we were told that was Cody House. I don't think we'll ever get the real answer. AEW there, AEW there, which I think is a little overkill because at the time this was the logo for AEW, but then we got it on the side plate again. Other side, same exact thing without the property plate, right? But I want to call your attention to little small details, and around it, it's just flat. There is nothing, no design, no. You can tell just something is unfinished. And I don't mean harm. The red strap, of course, is reminiscent of the old school secondary titles of the NWA television title. That was always looked at as the other belt because that belt was defended on territories. I believe that's why the red strap was put in place because Cody has said he likes that era of wrestling. So why not have a callback to that, right? Did that help it or hurt the belt of it being an unfinished belt being debuted instead of waiting for the real belt?
It's a rough situation. You know what I mean? You don't want to put it too much on. You don't want to put a belt too much on standby. And honestly, it did its job. You know what I mean? I don't think a championship is really about the championship. It's more about the holder, who's holding the belt. Because you can have the prettiest belt in the world, but if you don't have the right guy holding that strap, it doesn't really mean anything. So did it hurt initially? Yeah, of course. But as soon as they was able to get the ball rolling and get the finished product out, you don't even think about that initial project. You know what I mean? So overall, it's a mixed bag, but it doesn't really hurt the product. Cody was able to do it justice as his first champion to the point where he wasn't even thinking about that stuff. And by the way, if that is Cody's house, he was doing a great job without WWE. He was doing a wonderful job.
But that was the thing that was making the rounds like, oh, that's Cody house, and it was some TNT executive or the founder of TNT his house. But keep that thing pretty fresh on it. We're gonna leave it at that. And I apologize. I did call him the founder because all I saw was Hernandez. Change the name to Nip Ram, and I know the difference. That's not Marcus. That is Martin. I'm not the founder, but it makes you say Nip Ram. Makes you say the man that makes you say, "Oh damn." And then Dennis says he loved Eddie, was always able to talk. My guy on the mic. I'm sorry. My only nitpick is that he's a guy from New York, but he loves that strong style. I know quite a few guys from there, no strong style with lefty sideways
Listen, I love Eddie Kingston because he's from New York. He reminds me like one of my uncles on the block. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't know if how familiar you guys with New York, but there's a lot of like project buildings out there. And I feel like if you used to walk in front of any project building, you can find 6 Eddie Kingstons. I promise you. Somebody's Puerto Rican uncle. Yes, somebody's Puerto Rican uncle looked just like Eddie Kingston. I promise you. He looks like a blue collar guy. Is his wrestling style different? Yeah. But
and the prototype said, I did not like the original TNT belt. Had my fill of red belts after the Universal title. Now that's not fair. You know I didn't go there for a reason because when we had the Universal title, it was like, oh, it's red. It was just like that's a lot of red for a belt. But that was such a drastic change because it was a big belt and we were used to seeing that WWE Championship. But it's crazy because we finally got the new belt. I'm sorry, the finished belt, right? But soon after we got the finished belt, you could see some noticeable differences, right? And I'm gonna change it up a little bit. I'm gonna break this one down because now you got the mirror finish behind you, the gold TNT. You got the dual plated pattern now around the circle. You got champion in gold, still kept the red. Now we have gold outline all around it, and the AEW has the gold in it. Even though it's the same logo, now it has the gold in the middle. Because remember, that's what AEW was doing that logo at first, right? Now we got the designs around there. Just a better looking belt on camera. Just a better looking belt looking like, okay, now we can do some things, right? So you have all of this now with this belt. Good size, smaller than the world champion, but still you can tell, okay, this guy with that belt means something. It's a secondary title. Almost on par with how the X Division was introduced, almost on par how the Intercontinental title was introduced, almost on par of like how a television title has been introduced to different things. But the crazy part about this title, Brody Lee was revealed as the leader of the Dark Order. And this is during a time when people, were getting released from WWE or just leaving on their own, contract up, going to go find a new home, right? And he defeated Cody Homelander Rhodes in a dominant fashion, right? Mr. Brody Lee, the Exalted One. Rest in peace, sir. But we're going to give you some flowers while he's there, while you're here, right? While we're talking about him. This man dominated Cody Rhodes to the point it made my mouth drop like, this is what they did. Wow. Is this what we could have had in WWE? Not as in the character, the leader of the Dark Order, just that wrestling style, everything he did, right? And we know that his reign was cut short because of his passing. And AEW did something really great with this version of the title. They held a special tribute in his honor and gave it to his son, Brody Lee Jr., or known as Negative One with the Dark Order, right? But what made Brody Lee, his reign stand out, even though it was short, it was more about the dominant nature in which he won. And even when he lost it, it was still dominant. Do you think the introduction of Brody Lee put more eyes on this, or do you think it was like because Cody had it, it was the same amount? Do you think he brought more to the table?
Well, here's the thing when you introduce a new championship, right? When you introduce the first guy's important. But the guy who takes the belt off the first guy is equally as important because you try to keep that level of prestige. So Brody Lee, rest in peace, God bless his soul, and hope his family's all right. But he was able to continue it in a different fashion. In a different fashion completely.
I just want to show them off while you're talking. Well, go ahead so they
crazy.
can see the
you
difference.
Got so many belts, man.
But while you're talking, I want them to see the difference.
So with Brody Lee, like his dominant style, just winning matches, completely different from his match style with the E. He was able to show out and keep that level of prestige, being a dominant, close to a main event level guy, and he did his job. He did a great job with the TNT Championship, and it's probably one of the greater TNT Championship runs.
Now, do you think he was supposed to establish the Dark Order as a serious faction? Because they were kind of like fun for the kids. They were, hey, go out there and entertain. They weren't really a serious faction. Do you think he was supposed to he was meant to be the serious nature of it and bring some legit, like make them like a literally
I believe
a
so.
force to be reckoned with?
I believe so because you can't have a character like Brody Lee and still have Dark Uno just running around how he's running around now. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, that was cut short, so we don't know ultimately what the plans were. But I still enjoy the Dark Order for what they are.
Now, do you remember that dog collar match?
It's filthy, man. Sometimes AEW makes me go makes my skin
That's
crawl a
what
little
I
bit.
could we have did without that, or did we need that to really put over the fact that Brody was dominant?
You need
Because
it.
even though he lost, it was like, did he really know? So
You
like it really.
it solidifies AEW as the alternative when they do these kind of matches, right? When they push things to the absolute limit and they make you cringe up a little bit, and it's still a phenomenal match. Like, wow, that made me feel things I haven't felt in a really long time. It's like when you're watching a horror flick and you can't look away when you know something crazy is gonna happen. You just gotta watch it straight on and just accept it for what it is. Either you love it or you hate it.
Hmm. And like Knit Ram says, long live the Dark Order, right? Oh, Dennis, I promise you, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I I think Justin was echoing our sentiments about Brody Lee. And Dennis says, I think Brody was very important to the belt. He also was coming fresh from WWE. And he had to do something different. He had to like almost because we knew him as the Wyatt family member, and we knew him as the Small Raiders Intercontinental Champion. We knew him as the Bludgeon Brothers. We knew him as a tag team specialist. So he had to do something. Uh so we got
I'm
some
here for
people
the
from
belt.
Twitch joining us. I'm here for the belts. And trust me, we got more to show. Trust me. Brody made it feel as important as the main title, which was many wasn't able to do. And that's what I think the TNT title first set out to do. Because when you look at it, I'm just like in comparison to the unfinished versus the finished version. Oh, they look like they were supposed to be the mid Carter. Especially if you just look around, like the mirror finish in comparison, it just looked good on camera. It just looked good. It looked like it was meant to be there. This belt looked like it was meant to be on TV. It was meant to be around a top guy. It was meant for somebody to pay attention to. So after the passing of Brody Lee, we knew Cody Homelander Rhodes still had this belt. I'm sorry, they retired this belt, gave it to his son, and we were kind of robbed because we were told we were getting a new TNT championship, right? And I'm all for new belt announcements. I'm like, yay, we just retired the belt. I can't wait to see what we're going to do with this belt, right? Let's see what the new TNT title looks like. We gave Brody Lee Jr. the belt, and lo and behold, Tony Khan, you disappointed me. Because now we just got the same belt on black. It was like, you didn't retire the belt, you retired a strap, if you really think about it. Because in this time frame, Darby Allin is, rising to popularity. Darby Allin was rising to the forefront, and he actually beats Cody at Full Gear. It solidified him as one of the rising stars, almost like one of those pillars, as they said at the beginning of AEW. He made a name for himself by defending the belt against bigger stars, like when I say bigger stars and physical, like Brian Cage, stronger, faster opponents like Scorpio Sky, right? Darby was taking on all comers, sometimes putting his body on the line. And at the time, he held this title for 186 days, which with a new title is kind of hard to do, especially because you just had um, a two-time reign happening, Cody and then Brody Lee. But has Darby Allin always been portrayed as the underdog? If he wasn't, do you think that would have helped build the eyes to the TNT championship?
I mean, it helps that Darby doesn't care where he throws his body, right? And it also helps that Tony Khan offers premium health insurance because when you have a guy like Darby absolutely putting his body on the line every single week, it helps because now the matches become must watch. It's like, oh my god, what is Darby going to do to defend his belt next week at the next pay per view? What's next? And that's what Darby is. Darby is modern day Jeff Hardy. I know NetRam is going to love that one, but but Darby is modern day Jeff. He's insane. He's crazy. He does things for the fan. He gets off on it. I can't reiterate this enough. TK must offer wonderful health insurance. You know what I mean? Because there's no way that Darby would do it if it wasn't. Maybe he would, but you need that. You need a champion to go from somebody like Cody, somebody who's already established in the industry, to go to a dominant one like Mr. Brody Lee, to go back to Cody, who's a safe pick, right? Now you need something different for the championship. How do we bring something different and exciting and fresh? You have someone like Darby who's willing to do anything it takes to get over. And little kids love him. You watch an AEW show now, you see those little kids and have face paint looking like Darby. They're probably about the same height, but they look
And
like
I think that, and I was going to say that because the size of the belt helped because it felt like a big deal no matter who was holding it, right? And to this point, I know we had Brody Lee, Cody, and now Darby. It felt like the bona fide second tier championship, right? Like if you were able to do this, because Cody went on a challenge for the world title and then lost the match and he couldn't have a challenge for the title again. You know, Darby Allin was establishing himself, and I think we were holding on to, okay, is he going to do something different? Is he going to do something? But just changing the belt from a red strap to a black strap, you really didn't retire it, and you kept the banner red. So the red kind of pops on this because it's the only color really besides the gold and the silver. Still got the AEW at the top. I forgot to point it out. They do have the AEW at the top. So without a shadow of doubt, you know it. But one thing that's absent from this mid card title, which if anybody knows the belt guy, I love a globe and I like some kind of bird on there, right? We don't have a globe. We don't have any kind of world. We don't have it. We got a logo and what it is, and it says champion. Nowhere to put no individualized name. But we start to see that, we'd had three versions in less than what, 2 years now? Not even 2 years. Within the same year, right? We've gotten another version, right? And we kind of move on to the fact of I'm gonna call him the Redeemer. I'm not gonna call him the best man, right? Miro enters the picture, right? And when Miro enters the picture, things change a little, don't they? Because Miro, after he destroys Darby Allin, he literally gives us a treat. He said, not only am I going to change the strap, I'm going to change the side plates. I'm going to make this more specific to me. I'm going to make this, I'm going to make you pay attention to this. And when I tell you he made you pay attention to this, Miro in May of 2021, on an episode of Dynamite of all places, he won. He beat Darby Allin, our hero, our guy, the guy we were behind that was making us pay attention, right? Miro takes it. He calls himself, he started saying God's favorite champion, starts a feud with Sammy Guevara. But was Miro in the right place to take that belt from Darby? Former WWE guy coming over, talk to the people. Was that the right move?
yeah, man, the Zombie King would say no, but I believe so. Miro, people love Miro. He has a fan base wherever he goes. He's dominant as hell. He has very crazy moveset. I'm not gonna hold you. I don't like a white strap or green lettering that says champion. I think that looks absolutely ridiculous. But with somebody like Miro, I wouldn't tell that to him in his face. You know what I mean? He hold me
So
like a
you don't like
pretzel.
the green on there? You don't like the
Nah,
green?
the green is crazy, especially since the Knicks just got smacked by the Green Celtics. I
So
like it
you
a
got a
little
problem.
less.
You got a problem with it. But that's a personal thing. But was this right? For a former, I'm just going to say that because that's what the fans made it as, like a former WB guy, not as in Miro coming in, being dominant, going after the second tier title, actually winning and bringing more eyes, and then changing the belt too to a customized thing. And I was like, "Ooh, is this what we're going to get
Well,
now?"
but you have to think about it, right? Unfortunately, we live in We live in a wrestling universe that mostly everybody's been in the WWE, right?
Mhm.
Most wrestlers. You could look at Tony Storm winning the AEW Women's Championship, like, yeah, that's a WWE wrestler, even though she solidified herself in AEW. A lot of wrestlers have already been in WWE. Sometimes it just didn't work out. When you have a guy like Miro who's a fan favorite, people love Miro. You try to capitalize on those fans and you put the strap on them. You're like, okay, they made Miro the champion. Let me see how his first couple matches, or let me see how his matches change. It's kind of like when Edge came to AEW, Adam Copeland.
It's Edge.
You know,
We call him Edge.
his mama named Edge.
Mhm. That's his
so
name.
like
It's been his name for 30 years. That's his name.
so it's like when he
It's
came,
legally been
everyone.
changed.
So when he came to AEW and he won, ironically, the TNT Championship, because I think the TNT Championship just for the WWE guys at this point, right?
Oh,
So it's like they gave him that belt before he broke his leg. You know what I mean? But when you have a wrestler that's well beloved by everybody, and you bring them over to your roster and you put gold on them, you hope to get some of their fan base. Unfortunately, that's just the way the world works. You're already familiar with this wrestler. Why would you want it every other way? With your familiar wrestler, you can put on matches with new people, and hopefully those people stay. It's the Cody Rhodes thing all over again.
and I'm gonna tell you this. It's crazy because look who joined the chat and look what he said. Your favorite catchphrase.
You're what they do, my boy.
So he said, reminds me of the WWE bottle cap tag belts, not the penny and the
That's
nickel. Come on, Dennis. He said it looked way better in black than in red, but I'm very sure you're going to show my two favorite versions, which I hope this is one of. Oh no, he's talking about the Lakers one. We're going to get to that, I promise. Now, Dennis said the person holding it brings it down. Okay, I'm done. So I think that was in reference to it. Now, Nick Rab sees and thinking this is the greatest run of Miro's career, right? And since Justin says, oh, the white strap, that's what we're going to get to because I don't know if a lot of people know this. This was truly a customized belt because now when you look at the belt, the mirror finish is still there. You still have the floor pattern around it, but now you have a green championship banner. And on the side plates, which not a lot of people knew, they were changed out. They are floor pattern designed almost like the big gold or the WCW television title, the one that was framed around the big gold. But this flag was actually a coat of arms. I'm sorry, not a flag. I don't want to but speak. But it was the coat of arms for his hometown of Bolivia, um, in Bulgaria. So that was the point of that. It was so customized because both of these were the coat of arms. So they completely changed out these side plates, and then of course kept the AEW title. But that was kind of neat. This was the first time in the TNT belt that we saw was something specific to that wrestler. Now, notice I said the first time we see something very specific to that wrestler holding it. And I think that this, even though and WWE has conditioned us to realize that white straps are, for the women's belt, I think as wrestling fans, we've been conditioned that the white straps are for secondary titles, i.e., the IWGP Intercontinental title, the Global Championship, the IWGP Global Championship on a white strap. Uh, the Intercontinental title, the Nugget one or the Classic one. It still signifies a second title. And I think that's why this marked the biggest significance for a change of a title because we got those elements. Gone are the basic side plates and we just changed the straps. Nope. He changed the banner to match what he changed there. And the floor pattern on the side is so prominent now. If you can't tell me that's not give you WCW television title feels or big goal, well, it's a little flat. The big goal was a little bit raised and more textured, but it still gives you that feel on the side. And it has that coat of arms on it. So I thought this was genius. The way that it was looked on TV, it always looked like it was shining. It was just a good looking belt. And I know he didn't have it for long because I know we moved on to other things, but it was such a good belt. And with that being said, I think we go pause for a second because I think we need to hear a special message from um one of our sponsors. So give me 1 second. Let's see if he fell asleep or not. So, you want to eat like a champion? Check out Mr. Fries, located on 419 York Road in Towson, Maryland. If you go in and just use the promo code championship, you'll be able to eat like a champion. Once again, save 10% by going over to Mr. Fries and using the promo code championship. Make sure you tell them that the championship culture boys sent you. And remember, every belt has a story. So, Mr. Chano, I kind of want to keep this one up because
It's
you
now that you're talking about it, you kind of got me hooked on. You kind of got me hooked on it. I do like the side plates a little bit now. That green
because you
throwing
know the
me off. That
significance.
yeah, the green throwing me off though.
But it was such a different. Think about when have you seen green on a belt outside of
No,
a
you're
green
right.
strap for the European title? Like really, when have we seen green on a belt? Like I'll
No,
wait.
you're
Let me see
right.
if anybody can remember seeing. That's why I
You're
think it was
right.
such
You're
a
right.
custom belt.
I will. I will say kudos to TK because it's not only the TNT Championship he does this for. He does this. Instead of doing it for the AEW World Title as well. Every single one is a little bit different than the last one.
Especially
So
subtle differences like the logo change. I love the way
yes,
the logo looks now. It looks so clean. Kind of like how
yeah.
this does. And it's crazy because he keeps changing them and he changes them for the chat for the person holding them, right? And I wish we would have kept that going because we saw the rise of Sammy Guevara, we saw those things, those little vignettes he was doing. Um, but it was kind of like a shift in it because Miro was more of a ground pound destroyer redeemer. And then you had Sammy Guevara, who was a high flyer, more high octane type of matches, more spots, right? And he kind of became an interim champion at one point because Cody couldn't defend it because it made his way back to Cody Homelander. And then after he won an interim belt, he defeated Cody. And I know there was a spot in that match that I think everybody remembers when he did that off the top rope. But the first time he introduced this belt, we noticed a huge change to it. Instead of the mirror finish, now this all was blinged out. It had so many stones behind it now, and the texture on the TNT was down there. The texture was more in line with what the side plates were, but it's a newer belt, but it's still a custom belt. Now, when I say custom, a lot of people don't know this. When Sammy Guevara did it, not only was there stones behind this, there were stones all around every plate. So every plate had stones all around it. Now I'm gonna try to make sure I don't show you all because I have some of them popped out because there's so many stones on here. But there are stones all around, and it fit his character. I know he was calling himself the Spanish God, but it looked noticeably different, and it looked so much more like whoa, almost in line with like how this one blinged out, how the Spitter had all those extra stones, and we had this title for a while, right? Because we kept coming back to it. We kept coming back to it. This was the one between this one, mirror finish, or whatever it may be, right? How do you feel about this hot shot booking? Because remember, he was an interim champion, then he was a real champion, and Cody had it. It was just being passed around. Did that help or hurt this title?
So unfortunately, when you have a championship of amazing champions at one point, you're gonna need to change it around a little bit. A little bit of hot potato doesn't really hurt anybody. If you do it too much and too often, then it's like, all right, slow it down a little bit. Let's get a couple months in. Because right now we're kind of in the middle of that with the current World Heavyweight Championship, right? You kind of had McIntyre for like what 10 minutes. You had Priest for like 2-3 months, and now we are Gunther. How we know how long that lasts? Well, we're kind of in the middle of that. So we just kind of have to wait and see. Oh, also the Intercontinental Championship. That's kind of ever since Gunther lost it, it's been hot potato. But it still kind of has its value. The value of a championship will always be the champion. It's not the belt necessarily itself. It's the quality of the champion. As long as the quality of the champion is strong, it doesn't matter who's changing hands with.
Because even all right, so to your point, even when they were passing the title around, right? Scorpio Sky defeated Sammy, right? And here's the crazy part: he defeated him. Then he debuted this belt. So now we truly are in another custom era, and this one was almost personal. As a lot of people have taken note, the gold strap and the purple was significant to who? Let me see if he's going to say it. Who was it for, China?
The Lakers. It's that Lakers shit.
Okay, I just want to make sure you do this. So, and on his belt, he had a stamp of what number? You remember the
Oh,
number?
he has 24 on the belt.
Was it 24 or 23?
It's 24.
24. Kobe's
Kobe's aim
24.
24. Aim
Okay.
24.
Yeah, he had the stamp of 24 on it. And
Did he get that after Bean passed away?
I think so.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because he got it in. When did he pass away? Because
Like
it was
3 years ago.
2022 is when he got it.
Yeah, close. Yeah, 2022. That's crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a tribute Laker belt to Mr. Bean Bryant.
Yeah, because he was definitely a Lakers fan. But the good thing
I you
about
could
this,
see it.
but did you realize he won this as being part of an alliance? Because this was a blink in the history of the TNT title. And it's crazy because now we have a full on gold strap that when I saw this, all I kept thinking was Gold Dust, his Intercontinental title. Because I'm like, when is the last time we actually seen a gold strap, right?
That is crazy.
That was the first thing I thought when I saw it. But he
I'm not
kept the
gonna
stones.
I'm not gonna lie though. It's nice of them to keep Cody's house as one of the side plates.
We're just gonna agree that it's Cody's, right? He
It's
kept
just
the
Cody.
stones around all of it, right? Stones around the center, but now the TNT logo was flat. It didn't have the texture; it was flat, and I guess so that way. I don't know if you can see how the lights hit it. You can clearly
Yeah.
see the TNT title, but then you can see all the stones behind it. When Scorpio Sky, he won it March of 2022. He lost it in April, and he won it again in April. And it was crazy because when he lost it to Sammy, and then he won it right back, it was like who even realized that he had two title reigns in less than from March to April, and then he lost it back in July. So in the course of a few months, we've had multiple title changes, right? And do you think this strategy helped Scorpio Sky or did it hurt Scorpio Sky?
It probably hurt Scorpio because you don't really see it. You don't really see or hear much from him nowadays. Maybe in passing, right? I don't know the last time I seen a Scorpio Sky match. But that belt is cold though. Listen, he gets to say that's his standby on wrestling. That's a pretty golden purple belt.
And I'm surprised that it hasn't been sold because the only one that you can get was the black one or the red one. And I'm like, why not sell the mirror or this one? Because these are the two that stood out to most to me. But Scorpio Sky, we saw go down in defeat right in July. And that's when we got to say, what was it, Warlord's World? And he defeated Scorpio Sky. Then we went back to the black, right? This was Warlord's World. The difference now in his version, unlike the other version where the texture was on the TNT, it was all flat. It wasn't a texture, it was just a flat TNT now, kind of similar to what Scorpio Sky was. Another version, but still to just a casual fan or just somebody looking, you wouldn't have realized that it was actually a different version. Same black strap, same red everything. And then we saw that he had his second reign in March of that same year. I'm sorry, March of the following year, right? And here's the thing about this belt. The frequent changes kind of gave me the perception that anybody could get it, right? Anybody could get the belt. Anybody can be a champion. Everybody is a champion, right? It really wasn't credible threats. It was just who's the next person up, right? And I don't know if that was really the right thing for a way that the TNT title was brought into play. Because when it was brought into play, it was brought as like a serious, dominant thing to introduce us to new stars and get new stars over and get stars over whether in win or defeating. And now, when Warlow getting multiple raids in a short time, Scorpio Sky getting them in a short time, I don't know if this was really helping the. I'm gonna just call it the TNT division. What say you, brother?
It's hard because now you bring up a good point, right? It's like Warlow was one of those guys that got a crazy push. The crowd was crazy behind him, but now he's one of those guys that kind of like, what's next? So to your point, you have Cody, you have the Exalted One, then you have Miro, Darby, and now you're starting to get a little muddied, right? Scorpio Sky, two forgettable runs real quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sammy, kind of forgettable run outside of that one spot that he had with Cody to gain the championship the first time. So now you're in a territory is where your next move is important. What do you do next? What do you do to get eyes back in the championship to make it important again? And Warlow wasn't a bad call. Warlow's a big guy. He's fast. He's strong. He's dominant. But in hindsight, it's like, damn, he was just another one of those guys.
And it was just like, okay, he's the next. Here we go. Here we go. The next person to hold it. And it was like you're building multiple people, but you're building them holding the title and then moving on to the next. And we even saw that when it came to Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe at one point was a double champion. He had the TNT title and the ROH World title. And then him and Warlow were a tag team. What were they called? War Joe or something? And Sammy Guevara kept being in the mix. Darby Allin kept coming back to the mix. It seemed like they always came back to this title. And it was actually crazy because now you got a former world champion of Samoa Joe getting the belt, and he's ROH champion. But he's just literally, it's almost like a hot potato of, oh yeah, keep passing them back because I want that title change to make you pay attention to it because you never know if it's going to be on a Dynamite, Rampage, or PLE where it's going to change hands because that leads us to the confusion of introducing Powerhouse Hobbs and Luchasaurus in the mix too, the next person up. Because to be honest with you, did you realize that Luchasaurus was the actual TNT champion?
Yeah, no, I knew he was a champion, but it don't matter because my father was a real champion, Mr. Christian Cage.
Oh, but here we go. All right. So it's crazy you say that because during now here's the crazy part. We went through all of this time frame, and this is only within 3 years of this title being around, right? And Luchasaurus, wow, won it. We were like, great. But when Luchasaurus got the pin, Christian Cage grabs it, goes to the top rope, you know, the patriarchy, right? He literally carried that belt
Oh,
with his turtleneck wearing self, had his music when they came out. He was the champion. He even did interviews backstage. He let you know he was the champion, right? Now, they took the stones off, went for a more cleaner look, back to the cleaner look. And even during this time, the TNT logo didn't have the finish on it. It was just clean. It was just a flat look, but he literally carried this belt during Luchasaurus's reign. I don't think Luchasaurus ever walked in the ring with the belt. I don't think he
no.
ever talked. Well, he didn't talk anyway. Christian was his mouthpiece. And when I tell you, this made for some interesting TV. The only part that got more interesting is when they had that triple threat match between Darby Allin, yet again being inserted, Luchasaurus and Christian officially won the title. Did this bring some more, I don't want to use the word prestige, but this brings some off or bring us back to what the TNT title was supposed to be when Christian officially won it?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, who won it before Christian? Because I was like, to me, Christian had it the whole entire time. It was Warlow, not Warlow. Luchasaurus.
So,
So like when Luchasaurus had the championship and Christian was carrying it around, it felt better. You know what I mean? Like once again, unfortunately, another WWE guy carrying this TNT championship, right? But the thing
or
about Christian
TNA
was
guy, depending on
true.
how you look
But
at
the
his
thing,
history.
but the thing was, it's like we said, it's not the belt that makes it's not the belt, it's the champion. Whoever is holding the strap is who makes that belt feel more important. And even though Luchasaurus was technically the champion, Christian Cage became must see TV every single week. If you have a dead father, he was bringing it up. Oh my god, it was brutal. It was so the segments were so crazy. I was showing my coworkers. I'm like, yo, you remember Christian? He was like, with Edge? I was like, yeah. I'm like, look. He was like, oh my god, you could say that on television? I was like, no, but it's amazing. So when he became champion, it was just a formality. You know what I mean? It was just a formality at that point. But Christian made that championship feel special again. It felt important. I wanted to see what Christian did with the championship every single week, to the point where there's a Lost Four Sides episode where me and Marcus are yelling at each other for 45 minutes because he said Brian Danielson needed to get the championship off of Christian to make it feel more prestigious. It sucks that we lost it because it was a 45-minute screaming match. Like Brandon's just in the back, just like mute, like he's not even saying anything. And it's like I was at work. Marcus's wife, she's like, "Yo, this is not ESPN. You gotta cut. You gotta you gotta calm down and knock it down a little bit." And it was crazy, but because I was right, Christian made that belt feel so much more important, and it was incredible. It was an incredible run to the
Mm-hmm.
point where Adam Copeland, or his mother named him Edge, won the championship. I was disappointed. I was so upset. I was like, oh man, we get an old man, we get an old man Edge over here with the championship. So another thing, if you guys don't know about me, I am I do not like old wrestlers. I'm prejudiced. I am prejudiced with wrestlers over the age of 45 years old. If you're over the age of 45 years old and you show your age, get off my TV. But the thing is, I don't want them winning matches, and I don't want them winning championships. But if you're 45 and you can go in the ring, that's a different story. To me, Christian was more storytelling, right? He was able to piece together the in-ring work, but he had incredible mic skills. To me, we already saw Edge, Adam Copeland, declining in the in-ring work. He already changed his wrestling style a couple times, and he's not really a great promo, right? Like Christian carried the heat between them. So when he won the championship and he lost it immediately, I was like, okay, whew, thank God, we got Christian got the strap back, and it was great television. It was amazing, but then the inevitable happened. I quit match. Copeland won the belt, and then nobody cared about the TNT Championship again. That's the moment the TNT Championship died. And Adam
Oh,
Copeland won.
ladies and gentlemen, he said when Adam Copeland won
That's when
at
it died.
AEW's Double or Nothing, that's first time you talking about the first or the second time? Because remember,
The
he
second
lost
time.
the Edge at World's
Yeah, but
End. It
then
was called
yeah, but
World's End,
then
right?
nah,
And
was it?
then
I don't
yeah,
think
he
it was.
lost it. Then he took the contract from Luchasaurus and won it right
Yeah,
back in the same night.
yeah,
Because
that's what I'm saying.
Christian,
That was amazing. I was upset. I called it though when they had that like contract thing. I was like, Luchasaurus is gonna win it, and Christian's gonna take it off his hands, and that's exactly what happened. I was super, and that's when he lost the first time. I was like, okay, Christian's gonna get it back. But then the second time, I was so upset. I was like, oh man, this is where the championship goes to die, isn't it? It sucks.
and the prototype said the white strap was crispy. I just had to put that up there.
Listen, it
And now,
was.
Dennis said something that he said WWE wrestlers are over. It's hard not to put it on them. We could argue
True.
that, and I think we gonna argue that a little bit because Justin says he's gonna need that in his collect. Which one, the Scorpio Sky one or the Miro? Um, the Scorpio Sky belt is definitely unique because I was sitting here racking my brain. The only gold strap I could actually remember was Goldust. Like that's the only one I could really. I was like, if it's never another gold strap. Um, and we know that, right? We know you like Scorpio Sky. And thank you, Justin. Kobe passed in 2020. He said the day of the Rumble, and I feel like Brian H. Waters Hollywood has said something that he remembers where he was at that moment, and it was I think it might have been he was either at the Rumble or was about to watch the Rumble and got the message.
I
Thank you for
was
that.
I woke up from a nap. I woke up from a nap and my mom called me. She told me, and I was like, "Yo, ma, yo," I'm like, "Ma, stop looking at these fake reports on Facebook and stuff." I'm like, "That's crazy," but then it turned out it was true, and obviously, as most of the world, I was devastated. So many wishes to the Bryant family. Hope
Yes.
everybody's okay over there.
Now you might help me with this. Nitram said when he won that title, he became the first black wrestler to hold two different titles in the company. Might be the first overall to do so, but I gotta fact check that. Oh, because he was
What?
tag team champion, Scorpio Sky. He was tag team champion at first, and then he was the TNT champion. I think he is because Swerve now has been tag team champion and world champion. So yeah, I think that's right because they claimed it after him because they were
Oh, with the
tag
tag
team
and the
did trio.
trios.
Yeah, they did it after him. So you might. I think that actually is true. Some title reigns will be short. Dusty Rhodes held that title for 13 days. One time, I think.
Some title reigns
All
are short.
times. Love you.
Batista
What
held
you
the
trying to
title.
do?
Batista held the title for like 48 hours one time. He won at a PLE and and dropped it on the Monday Night Raw.
Remember, Ray Ray had it for 47 minutes.
Crazy. They did Rey Mysterio so dusty with that.
He said title changes are all about timing. But let's talk about this for a second because if I win a title on let's say a pay per view, I'm okay with if you drop it on the regular scheduled TV show, right? Because it might have just been a transition move, right? You give them that moment at the pay per view where more eyes are on the product, and you drop it to keep people focused and get them vested in beyond the now, right? So let's say I winning it all out, right? And then on Rampage, I drop it. It makes sense because now you're going to continue that story and let me keep tuning back in. It's a way to kind of hook and bait me. But when I win it at all out, lose it on Rampage and get it right back on Dynamite, what was the purpose? That's when I have a problem with short range when it's like, now you're just passing around.
So I have a question. Now that you
Mhm.
said that, how do you feel about Jay Uso winning on a Monday Night Raw, losing on a Monday Night Raw?
So we're talking about the TNT title here.
Listen, we talk about short title reigns. I was like, oh man,
So I'm gonna give you my 2 cents on that. Okay, I hate the fact I called it, and I hate the fact that the bloodline. This is what we had to do to get another jolt into the bloodline story. That's why I hate it,
I feel. Listen, I get it.
and
I
I'm
feel you,
sad I
but
hate it because it's we didn't need another jolt in that nature.
I get it. But I do understand this, right? It shows that when Jay's left alone to his own devices, he is a championship caliber wrestler, whether it's for the world title or mid card title, right? So when he does have another singles title opportunity again, he will win the strap. Next time it might be the world title, and hopefully it's longer than however long he carried it this time.
That's what I'm gonna say about that. Oh man, Warlow is one big mistake being big. Oh man, okay.
Jesus,
Oh, that is pretty bad. Um, Christian Cage has been a generation on a generational run in the last few years. Father of the century.
he's
That press
amazing
conference
run.
when he said, "Have you wrestled? Have you ever wrestled?" When he said, "I'm the TNT champion. I'm the most important champion here." Yes, we can all agree that Christian has brought some eyes, right? Imagine a faction with current Christian. First off, let's distinguish this. He said it. Christian and Christian Cage are two different people. When he's Christian Cage, he's somebody different. So I'm gonna change it. It says, imagine a faction with Christian Cage and Bald Randy Orton, Reign of Terror, Triple H, and I'm sorry to say,
Oh, for
for
JBL,
yes, League of Super Villains. I don't want to
I'm
put
not gonna
JBL in
hold
that
you.
category. I don't want
No, no,
JBL
no,
in
no, no.
that.
I hated J. I recently just learned to unhate JBL when I realized he was a decent person and Eddie just really put him over.
Yeah, I know that Eddie said no, put the title on him. Like Eddie
Yeah,
wanted to put the title on, he wanted him to go over, and probably because you know Eddie saw that somebody did that for him, so he wanted to pay him
it's
pay him back.
I'm telling you, I just learned to unhate JBL. He started telling stories. He's like, yeah, man, he was so great. I was like, wow, I really went my whole entire adult life hating you for something like I forgot that wrestling is kayfabe. like I real life, I real life hated you. But that would be an insane faction. And
Oh man, look at this!
insanity.
What he said.
Both of
I'm gonna
them.
try, both. I was like, did he really say
Both of them.
both of them? The Miro and the Scorpio Sky. And then it says, "I'm a fan of Edge. You're one of like 12 left." Um, yep. I'm gonna just leave that there. I'm not gonna read that.
You know it's what's actually really funny about that. So New York Comic Con just passed, right? So as a comic enthusiast, anime enthusiast, honestly just enthusiast of everything Comic Con has to offer, I went down, I saw an artist that did an Invincible cover. She wasn't supposed to be there, but I found her, right? And the reason why I went up to her to go get her signature was at San Diego Comic Con, she did some wrestling sketches. Her name is Rose Betch, by the way, if you guys want to check out her work. And we had a really good conversation. She asked me who my favorite wrestler was. I told her Eddie. I told her right now was Dom and Christian. Gotta love a good heel. And she told me her favorite wrestler of all time was Edge. So I asked her, I was like, "Do you watch AEW?" She was like, "I tried, but there's so much wrestling now. It's kind of hard to keep up with." And then we was just joking about it. I was like, "Yeah, like if you're so used to a WWE product, AEW is to be a change of pace." She mostly draws on like pink stencils, so we joked about her whole entire art style changing to like dark, black, gloomy. You know what I mean? The color section is so vibrant now. So I say this like a lot of people who love Edge just refuse to make that change with him over to AEW. So it's probably not an exaggeration saying it's probably like 12 Edge fans left. It's crazy, man. And plus, it doesn't
And
help that he's 50 years old and he's still trying to wrestle.
so I'm going to shed some light on this, and I don't know if I told this story on the flagship show that you can catch every Wednesday at 10:30 p.m. on YouTube.com/The Wrestling Realm, the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. When I had this belt signed by, you know, former champion Brian Cage, he made reference to that, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Is and the comment is, y'all know Tony can't book big men, lol, because Brian Cage alluded to that. So that
Listen,
might actually.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think TK's issue is he loves booking 50-50 matches, which is fun. You get both wrestlers to showcase their whole entire moveset for who's the better wrestler. But with these big men, they deserve like a 10% bump. You know what I mean? To prove like extra assertive the dominance. So I don't think it's necessarily big man that's the issue. I just think it's his match style call, which is a 50-50 match. Because you will get a guy like Darby and Brody King, right? Brody King is a big MFer, you know what I mean? A little old, but still Brody King was able to have a 60-40 match with Darby while still putting Darby over. That should be your standard big man. When your big man's in a match, that's how it should look.
Hmm. Well, and it's crazy because you talked about how do you say this? When it comes to the TNT title, we've had our array of different people, but it seems like Darby is always the smallest out of all of these contenders, right? And it's insane because when you think about the history, it started with Cody, Brody, Darby, and then we kind of like start passing around to different people and seeing what really was sticking, right? And then we get to the point where, Edge, you can say, I'm sorry, Adam Copeland, he, is trying to put it over, trying to put over the fact that he's in this match, he's doing everything he's doing. It comes out with a win, but comes on the other side with an injury. So now, one of the greatest champions ever, Vacant, holds the title. And when Vacant holds that title, we have another tournament, right? And we are stuck with a crispy championship. And we're going to dive into that. But if you're enjoying this content, I'm going to tell you where you can find us at and where you can find us and where. Check this out. You enjoying the show so far? Good. Go over to Instagram and follow us at Championship Culture _. And don't forget, check out youtube.com/The Wrestling Room. Look for the playlist for Championship Culture. And remember, every belt has a story. So now we get to the current championship. We win.
How's everybody's father feeling today?
Can you please play that again? We got to. That was. Please play that again. That was about.
How's everybody's father feeling today?
And he said it with a straight face. I think the fact that he has this turtleneck on and he just comes off with it like, remember when he told the kid, "What is that? Get this out of here." And he said to the kid,
It's not just a turtleneck, it's a sleeveless turtleneck. Under that jacket, that turtleneck has no sleeves. It's cut. It's cut
that
completely.
is such a villain. That is every secret. Like, what's his name? Apocalypse. How he got no sleeves, but he wore his gloves. Like, how is this confused? Who thought this was a good idea?
Yo, do you see how he introduces himself? Currently, he introduces himself as the undisputed future champion, future world champion.
Because he got the what you call it?
He has a contract. He's not cashing in on the
Yes.
BCC. I'll tell you that much. Those are gang members.
We can call him something else, but I'm not going to say that on there because I don't want. Let me. All right, so back to the crispy championship, as we call it, right? So the scapegoat gets this title, and just to dispel any myths or rumors, I do not have that belt because we went from a unfinished title to a beautiful red and gold to retiring that belt. Then we went to the black, and from the black we got the Miro version. Went back to black. Then we got this. Well, we got a blinged out version. We got Scorpio Sky. Went back to black. Took the bling off. Added the bling on. Flat surface. We went through all these different iterations of it, right? And now we get to a video that was posted with Jack Perry as won the title, And he takes a replica, if anybody pays attention, because it had the AEW um, information on the back, just like with WWE replicas, where it was made. He takes this belt, melts it down, certain parts, saws off the. I'm sorry, I'm going to use the Miro belt for example, because it seems like everybody likes that. He saws off the sidebars from the main plate, melts certain things down, um, roughs it up, takes away, in my opinion, what makes the belt look good on TV, what makes the belt make me want to buy it. He took all those elements away for a grungier, darker, burnt, gross, horrible looking blood spreader of a horror movie, um, no soul looking belt. And that's what I'm gonna call it because when you look at a belt, it should evoke a feeling, right? And we talk about every belt has a story. When you look at that belt, no matter who you are, you should know that person is important. The FTW belt was so silly looking, but you looking at it, and that was the only belt in the promotion, you would know that person is somebody important. When you look at this belt, and you can watch the video how it was broken down and made and everything he did to it, I'll give him kudos. First off, he was out there with that hot heat and all that, with no shirt on and didn't burn himself, which is amazing to me. But he put his own stamp on this belt, right? Oh, Channel, tell these people why you like this belt so much.
It's a
Because
great
I
belt.
just broke it down and why it's so horrible. And all I'm gonna do is say this while you're talking. So continue. Tell the people why it's a good belt.
So first off, you gotta understand the character of who is Jack Perry, right? So if you're
Nobody.
unfamiliar with if you're unfamiliar with AEW in a sense, Jack Perry is the son of actor Luke Perry, right? It's a little nepo
Mhm.
baby in there. So Jack Perry was kind of like an unserious wrestler. He got into a scuffle with CM Punk, was placed on a administrative leave for a couple months. He came back to New Japan as the scapegoat. He was the scapegoat because he was suspended due to somebody else's actions. So when he came back to AEW, he aligned himself with the Elite. And I was there that day at Forbidden Door when he won the TNT Championship. It was a little disheartening. I wanted Takeshita, but seeing Jack Perry go from the Muffin Chop Man, the Jungle Boy, right, into a Jungle Man, full beard, crazy looking, and I think that was one of the first times because I know it's happened a couple times that you've seen a wrestler put his mark on the belt directly. Like even if that video is fake and he didn't make that belt himself and he just did the step by step just for video purposes, it made me respect the process of him being a champion. And it's like you can't be the scapegoat. It's such a dark gimmick, right? You're the scapegoat. Like they pinned this all on you, and you still here made it as a champion. So of course you can't have a shiny belt and be the scapegoat. That's not how it works. So he muddied it up, made it darker, little red splatter. You see him do all of this step by step to give it the darker feel. And I love this design. I like if they sold it, I probably think twice on it. You know what I mean? I try to make financial good decisions from time to time. But
And that would be a horrible one to make.
it's a pretty belt. It's not your standard bright, shiny. It's for the kids, right? It's not this belt isn't for the kids. If we're gonna be even more honest, AEW is not is not for the children. It's a darker show. It's a dark belt. But if narrative of who Jack Perry is, if you was to have this belt on any other wrestler, it just would not work. It would not work with any other wrestler. It works with Jack Perry because of who his character is. Everything about the dark and the grudginess, like you literally see him with a little diamond bezeler cutting up the TNT championship to make it like graded and little rugged. Like you see it, if you guys haven't seen this video, please search it up on YouTube. Jack Perry makes TNT championship. It's a real dope process. And when you see somebody do that kind of process to make their own championship, it kind of makes you appreciate it just a little bit more. And that's why I like it. It's like he literally made it by hand. Like Mero was like, yo, TK, make my champion logo green and put Bolivia on the sides. We're not gonna show Cody's house no more. Then everybody else was like, yo, TK, put Cody's house back on the belt. I like Cody's house. Jack Perry was like, yeah,
That's
fuck
how the
everybody.
conversation went.
That's exactly
Now,
how it went. And TK was like, yo, facts.
but see, when you talk about somebody doing this, we saw in TNA when Jeff Hardy was making his own belt, right? He made the Immortal Championship. He painted it. He cut a medal on himself. We saw these processes. We seen countless time. NWO spray paint. We've seen the Rascals spray paint the X Division belt. We've seen people kind of deface belts to make it their personalized one. But when you come to making your own belt, or when it comes to putting a stamp on it, let's call it what it is, right? The TNT title lineage is attached to each person. Like whenever you see this belt, you're going to think of nobody but Miro, right? But anybody can have the belt because at first the bedazzled, not bedazzled, the bejeweled, the blinged out one was Sammy Guevara. But now when you see the one without it, are you going to think Darby Allen, or are you going to think Warlow, or Powerhouse Hobb, or Christian, or
But
Edge?
that's
Who are you going to
but
think
that's what
about?
I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying, right? So like the Miro belt is just obviously exclusive to him. Scorpio Sky is exclusive to him. The red strap is exclusively Mr. Brody Lee and Cody Rhodes himself. You know what I mean? So when you think about exclusive championships, and just in a general aspect, that TNT championship is directly tied to Jack Perry. If Jack Perry was to win the TNT championship again in 2 years, it might have a whole. He might not even bring back that current design that he has on it right now. But it's just something about when you make your belt from scratch, and I'm not talking about a defacing, right? I'm talking about like cutting up the metal, pouring, like he did the whole entire stencil kit. It was in, bro. It's dope to watch, and I really do appreciate that. You appreciate that championship a little bit more, and I kind of like that. Like we was talking about a little bit earlier, the AEW World Championship. Every single strap, every single belt is different to each person. MJF, he had the Burberry strap, the Triple B. Samoa Joe went for a pitch black strap, right? Then you have,
I
but
played
Samoa Joe,
Strange.
yeah, Samoa Joe, he also had the little mini side plates. Swerve had the little side plates. And now we're two champions over. Daniel Bryan went back for the OG design, and we haven't even Mox. He has a duffel bag. He doesn't even have a championship. He has a duffel bag. Duffel bag is his belt. So each belt is different to each wrestler, right? So when you have that same title TNT championship that you was talking about, whether it's the bedazzled bag or the mirror bag, those are intertwined. You can have those for any single wrestler. It doesn't necessarily matter. But when you're trying to make an impact like this champion's here to stay, this is a different championship reign, you change it up a little bit. And I'm glad they gave that to Mr. Jack Perry. And this it's been a great run for him.
So far, still ain't changed my mind. Still don't like the belt, by the way. I'm just gonna tell you, I don't like. I feel like there's no soul in that belt, and
I
that's all
think
I'm gonna
that's
say.
the
It is.
I think that's the point. That's the point of it though. That belt's not supposed to invoke a happy feeling from you. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be a little bit of a twisted belt. How when I see that belt, I kind of see the Bray Wyatt World Championship. It's kind of like a belt that I like when I see Bray Championship, I don't know what they were doing with that because that looks absolutely insane. I can't imagine waking up 3:30 in the morning and that belt trying to find you. Oh, it scares you. You know what I mean? But that's what that belt is supposed to do. It's supposed to
When
be a
I had it
creepy
hanging on
belt.
my wall, it was always in the corner because I felt like every time I came into the room, it was looking right at me.
And
Um,
imagine if a little bit of light hit that belt and you seen that at a weird angle, you'd probably jump up a little bit. Oh, my fault. That's just my belt. But that's what Jack Perry's belt is supposed to feel like. It's supposed to feel like a soulless belt. Like he had to, like the little blood splat, the fake blood splatter, like he had to scratch and claw his way back to a championship picture. Like when he wasn't in AEW, he wasn't wrestling. He was on that suspended leave. We didn't know he was going to make it back to this point. I don't think anybody knew if he would be back in wrestling in AEW at all. But he clawed his way back. He made it back to this position, and it was. Is it just a jab at CM Punk because he's now aligned with the elite who Punk was feuding with, in real life? Who knows? But I like the strap. I do like the strap for him.
and so when you look at this picture, right? If you look at the picture of the scapegoat, right? The thing that I can't get behind with this picture, it doesn't. It looks more like a gimmick than it does a championship. I think that's my problem. Like I feel like that's the prop you would get from like a Halloween store, or if like you were going to go cosplay or something. I feel like it's more of a prop than it is a championship because like when you look at championship, I should be able to know that. So if I see him and Takeshita and Okada, right? I'm just talking about because they're holding titles now. I'm going to think that he's the gimmick guy. He's on par with like the hardcore championship. He's the other belt. It's not a lineage of what TNT has become or can be or will be. It's like he's the other one. I'm going to think Takeshita is the secondary champion, and I'm just going to say, oh. why is Okada holding that participation trophy? And then Jack Perry. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think that's my
Listen,
biggest issue with
I
that belt.
feel you. I feel you, but you've seen there's been belts like that in the past with the Brahma Bull, the Smoking Skull. You know what I mean?
But they still look like champion. The Smoking Skull and the Rumble, they look like they were customized championships. They didn't
Yes,
look
it's
like
just because it was
gimmick
still
belts.
gold and shiny. This is the complete opposite of what a belt is. You know what I mean? It's dark. It's squedgy. It's like Jesus Christ. Like, but I feel like it goes hand in hand when you see him making it by hand. If you was just a pop up with the championship on a regular dynamite and you had no context of him making that belt by hand, I can see you being like, oh, okay, that's a little weird. But the fact that we're all familiar with the Jack Perry story and he making it by hand is what makes me like the belt. Like this belt doesn't look any different to me than a Brahma Bull or the Smoking Skull. It's a weird looking championship. That's not gonna look the same after the next holder, right? Kind of like the John Cena spinner belt. It was supposed to go back to the undisputed championship design, but it became so popular that they had no choice but to keep it. I doubt that happens with this TNT championship. But who knows? Maybe we get another dark character.
So with that being said, what is your most memorable design of the TNT Championship?
This current one with Jack Perry. It's gonna
You
stay.
let me know.
Listen, honestly, it's like now that I'm thinking about it, the Scorpio Sky one is pretty dope. That will stay in my mind for a little while. But honestly, the Jack Perry one is really sticks in my mind. For the next 5 designs, I'm gonna be like, wow. And they pop it out, it's gonna be back with the shiny mirror back. It's gonna look how every single one looks like. The TNT championship that Jack Perry has is gonna be the most when you look at it in 10, 15 years, that Jack Perry's championship is gonna look the most different from everybody else's championship. Mirror has the white strap and the Bolivia flag and the thing. Scorpio Sky has the tribute, basically a Kobe Bryant tribute. Brody Lee has the retired red strap. Cody has the unfinished belt. All those belts in between are extremely similar. You know what I mean? They all have similar designs.
Subtle difference. It's very subtle. Like if you're
So,
not paying attention, you wouldn't realize that, oh, that's blaked out. Oh, that's not blaked out. Oh, that's a mirror finish. That's a
you
back
know what I
finish.
mean?
That's a
So,
texture finish for the TNT. That's a flat
so,
finish.
so it's like when you exactly it's subtle differences. Like a little kid watching that show, they're like, "Oh my god, Jack Perry's championship was crazy." When they grow up and look at the championships again, they're like, "Oh yeah, Mr. Perry had a crazy looking belt. It's the most noticeable belt change because everything about it is different. Everything about it is different." And I think that's what makes it so memorable and stand out so much. I think the only thing that stands out about the Scorpio Sky Belt is the fact that it's on a gold strap. What stands out so much about Mirror's Championship is on a white strap. Because if it was on a black strap with a green banner, you'd be like, oh, okay, just that one thing. It's strap colors. The Jack Perry was able to make a different looking belt on a black strap. And that's what makes it like, oh wow, that's different.
So, and then since you're talking about notable, who's the most notable wrestlers to hold the belt besides apparently Jack Perry?
Um, my father, Christian Cage.
And what makes him notable? Because he was such a villain.
Oh, 1,000%. As a young kid growing up watching wrestling, I love the baby faces. As a grown adult, I like to see baby faces lose. And there's nobody better doing that than Christian. Christian's run was the best story on AEW. He made AEW must see TV. I remember he opened up one AEW. He was like, "Yeah, this always going to be commercial free because I said so." So he did the whole entire shebang. Like Christian's TNT run was incredible. And now he's going to be a future world. I think he's getting awarded the AEW World Championship based on his TNT Championship run. And it's well deserved. That man is a villain in every sense of the word.
I remember as a face, he beat Kenny Omega. That's all I'm gonna say about that. For that,
Listen, he
TNA,
did beat Kenny. 1,000% he
they
beat Kenny.
they posted a thing. I don't know if you saw. It's like Christian is the only wrestler to win the ECW title in WWE. He won the Impact World title on AEW, and he won the NWA Championship in TNA Wrestling. It was like he's won world
It's
titles in different companies. I
I'm
don't know why
telling
I chuckled at that. I was like, wow, yeah, I don't think anybody would ever do anything crazy like that.
It's insane. All he's missing is honestly the New Japan World Championship and the AEW World Title, and he's had a complete career. You know what I mean? He
And
literally
it's
has the trifecta. He literally has the whole entire thing, but he's too old for the New Japan run.
and speaking of TNA, remember when we were doing that first Forbidden Door type of deal with them, right? Where Kenny Omega was the champion. They went over. Kenny Omega came back with the Impact World title. Should the TNT title been part of that crossover? And should that have been the focus and not the world champion?
Yeah, that's kind of my issue with the current NXT WWE thing. There's no championship. There's no champion crossovers. You know what I mean? I feel like your major title shouldn't change hands. I feel like Kenny Omega was a very safe choice for the TNA World Title because Mr. Kenny Omega is Mr. Worldwide. But the TNT Championship could have benefited from a change to a TNA wrestler temporarily, since it was so hot potato ish around that time, regardless.
Mm. And do you think that it's made its impact in the mid card, or do you think it's got because we got the international slash all Atlantic, whatever one you want to call it, and the Okada's belt? Do you think that this has now got lost in the shuffle because it was introduced as the second belt, but how is it the second belt when everybody thinks the second belt?
Personally, I would like to see AEW do a full brand split. They have the talent to survive on both shows. This way, you kind of get to shuffle some belts around to make them more prestigious. But it's in a rough position right now. The Continental Championship, it's a weird championship because it's very seldom defended on such a
And it was
talented
created
wrestler.
as a one thing, and then he basically said, "Never mind, I'm gonna change that." He used it. I mean, he kind of just changed the whole concept of it.
Yeah, it's weird, but the tournament should be starting. The tournament should be starting up soon. The Continental
Which
Classic should be starting up soon. The tournament should be up and running. As far as the international championship, Takeshita much deserved. That man is special. He's a special wrestler.
that he
So
and I'm gonna tell you that you said that you were making sense when you were talking about Jack Perry, and then it said out of all the TNT belts that stands out, he's right about that one. I'm still not. I still think it has no soul. And Christian was carrying it for a minute, and
he
I don't
was.
know if I've said it on air. I'm a Christian Cage fan. I'm a Christian fan, so I just love the fact that he leaned all the way into it and hasn't turned back. Even when he hugged Edge and he said that word. So I was like, oh, he hugged him and making me like, yeah, we about to get back together. Um, this is what I'm waiting for. That is exactly what I'm waiting for. And I'm glad Justin said it because remember they did Worlds Collide with NXT UK and NXT. And did they have Evolve? No. Or is that when they first took over Evolve? But I can't wait for something like this. And I know if Nick Nimitz is still the champion, it'll be Nick Nimitz versus whoever is the what you call a champion, and that will be a heck of a match because oh buddy, I think they kept Nick Nimitz away from TNA I mean NXT on purpose. You know
It's a
he
weird.
is a former
It's a weird
NXT champ.
position. It's a weird
Yeah.
position for him. You know what I mean? I think he's open to the collaboration, but at the same time, he left them for a reason. You know what I mean? And I'm sure he doesn't want to drop that TNA championship to a WWE guy, especially just as a pride aspect. You know what I
And
mean? I
look,
don't blame him.
Christian was the reason I started turning into
I'm
AEW
telling you,
consistent. When he
you
won the
guessed it.
trios belt, and he said, "Nick Wayne, here's your belt. You're a great champion." He said, "And because you birthed a great champion, you get the belt." I was like, "Did he really just give Nick Wayne, Mama Wayne the belt?"
Mama,
And then
Mama Wayne.
she was listed as a trios champion. I said, "Poor Luchasaurus never gets a belt."
Yeah, I'm not. It's rough now because Luchasaurus is recovering from pneumonia. So rest up, rest easy. Hope you come back healthy. Don't rush back and hurt yourself. So yeah, man, it was.
Come back and
I
win some more
hated.
titles for Christian.
I hated their trios championship run because more than the Christian guy, I'm a Bullet Club Gold guy. Like
Oh,
to me, I love Juice. Juice Robinson is my guy. Right? Like him and
he,
Switchblade, there are my dudes.
oh, we not. Oh, that's gonna be. Oh, look at this
You
comment.
don't like Juice?
We that's a just a tip talk. Do you think having too many belts can hurt?
I don't think so. I think like I'm preaching about this brand split. If you do a brand split, right, you still keep one world champion. The world champion can defend on whoever the hell is challenger at. If you do a brand split and you have belts exclusive to, let's say, the world champion, he can do either show, right? And then you have the international, the TNT on one show, and then you have the Continental Championship. And I'm sure they have another single title on that run somewhere. You can make it work. Like you can make it work with two shows. But if you do one show like a Dynamite Collision and then a Rampage, however long Rampage has left, it's a little muddy. You know what I mean? Because one, all the gold is between the only person that's not in a faction that has gold is Takeshita. Well, he's in a faction, but the rest of his faction doesn't have gold. The elite, they have the TNT Championship, the Tag Team Championships, and the Continental Championships. The Bluey Combat Club have the Trio Championships and the World Championship. You know what I mean? It's a big old faction thing. So it's a little weird because all your gold is distributed amongst two groups, except for the women, of course. So it's a little muddy. I don't think it's a bad thing because WWE has a lot of championships, but it makes it a little more manageable because they have two shows that kind of run independently of each other until they collide with one another, if that makes sense.
So I'm gonna give you my take on that, and you're gonna laugh. I don't think having too many belts can hurt. I think the way that you use the belts are gonna hurt. For example, TNA has the world title, the women's the knockout championship, the digital media championship, the X division, both sets of tags, right? Cool, great. We know what their programming are. They do feuds, they do storylines, everything's cool, right? The problem I have, the good problem and the bad problem with WWE, they have a lot of titles, but they separated them. So the Intercontinental title, the World Champion, the Women World Champion, and the World Tag Team Champions are on Raw. SmackDown has the WWE Championship, WWE Women's Champion, United States title, WWE Tag Team, right? NXT has that set. And then the women tag teams float, right? Not a problem. The problem I feel like a lot of people are saying AEW has too many belts because AEW has ROH. I should not see Mark Briscoe on AEW TV as ROH World Champion. If he's the world champion, he needs to do a special program. Keep ROH off my TV. Same point. I don't want to see the CMLO, women's champion, tag champion, or anything else. I don't want to see another promotion belt unless it's called for in that a forbidden door, a special circumstance. If on regular TV, I'm seeing all of these belts, like you said, the Trios Championship. We have two different sets of Trios Championship, and you'll see them all on Dynamite or Rampage. Leave the one on ROH, let it stay there, separate your roster, because you can split the roster into three, and you literally can have Rampage, Dynamite, ROH. Keep those as three shows, three different rosters, and only mix them together when the story calls for it as a special thing. There is no reason that Dustin is he still trios and tag champs?
Ring of Honor as of
Yeah,
right now, I believe so. I don't know because Sammy got hurt, so I don't know what they did with him on Ring of Honor.
but you get what I'm saying. I think that's what it feels like. If I'm watching a show and everybody has a title, then it feels like it's too much. At every segment, there are multiple titles, and then you got ROH set of titles, AEW titles, and then another company's title on there as well. You're like, why is there so many? Why is this happening? Why is it so much? That's when I feel
Um,
like it's too many belts.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I used to complain about that too, about the Ring of Honor championships being on AEW TV, but I just got tired of yelling at a wall, so I completely blanked that on my mind. I'm not gonna hold you.
And remember,
I've
Ring
been
of Honor has a secondary women's title too. They got the women's television
the
champion.
TV, the Women's
Yeah,
World Championship, the Ring
and
of
the
Honor World
TV.
Champion. They have the TV Championship. They have the Pure Championship, and they have the set of tag and trios. Listen, man, I got tired of yelling at a wall. I hated it. Personally, when Samoa Joe was competing for the AEW World Championship, I was heated. I was hot. I was I was irate. I'm like, he's a mid card champion in Ring of Honor.
No, remember he
Going
gave it
for
up.
the
He said, "Here, you can have this. I don't want this.
yeah,
I'm
but
going after the title."
but the first time when he fought MJF at Grand Slam the first time,
Oh yeah, that's right.
he was, you know what I mean? He was still the TV champion. And I was irate. I was like, yo, he's a mid card champion on Ring of Honor. You're using that as a development story at this point. Like, this is what you're doing with your Ring of Honor. He's a mid card champion fighting for the AEW World Champion. He's arguably the biggest championship in your promotion, and your mid card guy, a Ring of Honor of a side project, because Ring of Honor is not even taken seriously anymore. It's literally just to bring guys back and forth. It's insane. I was irate. I was
Or better
irritated.
yet,
I
when
hated that.
Mark Briscoe was in the TNT title tournament, remember?
Yo, I hated it. I hate it so much because, especially for Briscoe, Briscoe got the championship one because he's obviously very talented, and also his family has history with that championship. I get it. Eddie Kingston won the Ring of Honor World Championship because of his beef with Claudio. He finally got to be a top guy of a promotion. But are you really a top guy of a promotion if you're constantly not even on that promotion? You know what I mean? Like,
You're
look
just
at
in
Brian
it,
Cage
they
right
want
now. Brian Cage won the TV championship, and he's an AEW mainstay. It's a weird predicament, honestly. Yeah, this opens up a whole new can of worms in me because I just stopped yelling at a wall about it. NetRam just tells me I'm crazy. NetRam gaslights me into thinking that this is okay.
It's not. And I hope that answers your question. That is, thanks for taking us down that rabbit hole. That's what we do in championship culture. We go down rabbit holes, we explore different topics, but we always come back to just being about belts, ironically, right? Because belts are those things that, one, keep us entertained, it keeps us spending money, and it keeps us looking at the product because we're always interested. What does that champion want to do? Now, WWE has done a great job of having us say, what is that wrestler going to do without a title? But the championship has always been that focal point of storylines, contendership, where, the best of the best and those people, you're like, okay, let's see what they're going to do now. Because a lot of times we become fans based upon what that champion is doing. And the TNT title is no different. So through its evolution, it's had some ups, it had some downs, if you want to call it. It's had some eyes on the product points, then you had those scratchy head moments. But it's always a chance for us to come back and say, oh, look at that. And in a company that has three mid card titles, unlike when WWE had the Intercontinental, European, and Hardcore title, we knew the distinction. You knew the Intercontinental title was the second tier. You knew the European title was the other belt. And you knew the Hardcore title was that gimmick belt. The problem I'm having now, the TNT title was introduced as that second belt. You know what I mean? And I'm just saying second belt, not secondary, second tier. It was introduced as the second belt. You bring on a beautiful belt like the All Atlantic or the International, which I'm going to stand firmly by it. I believe that was supposed to be the world title because if you look at the current women's world title and that belt, they are very similar. They look like male and female, kind of like how most companies do. The male and the female belts are very similar. And then you bring the Continental belt, which was created as a gimmick, as in that the New Japan Strong and the ROH belt were going to be one title, and you kind of just push that to the wayside. I just hope we can get back to what makes the TNT title special. So, with all that being said, any final thoughts on the evolution of the TNT title?
I can't wait to see who has the next turn at it because obviously after Jack Perry, there has to be a new championship unless they want to bring that bad boy around with them. I just hope they don't go back to the classic.
You know they're
look.
gonna go back to the black. They're gonna go back to the
Yeah,
solid black,
yeah, 1,000%. I'm like,
the default.
yeah, that is the default belt. Listen, there's nothing wrong with it. It is a pretty belt. Personally, the TNT Championship is my least favorite. AEW Championship. It's tied with the TBS Championship. I
Really?
just don't. Yeah, international champ. You won me over the international championship. The international championship and the AEW World Title is beautiful belts. they are gorgeous. The
Because it's
continental
so
belt,
much.
the continental championship just looks like a Burger King belt. I'm not gonna hold you. Looks
And
terrible.
that's why, and I don't want to say a gimmick belt, and people get the wrong idea. When I say a gimmick, it was supposed to be the ROH World Title, that belt, and then New Japan Strong were supposed to be part of the Continental Classic, where you would get all three of those belts. But as you can see, that fell to the wayside. Hence why the All Atlantic, when it was first introduced, Pac was taking it everywhere and defending it around the world. So I was like, oh, this is cool. This is a way to do the reverse of what AEW is doing. Get eyes on their product from other people.
They went back to that though. They started doing it again when MJF had that little short run as international champion. He was going to Mexico. He was going to Mexico. He was going to Europe. He was doing it. Osprey, he kind of wasn't. He was kind of doing his thing, but Takeshita already defended the championship in Canada at MPW, the Maple Professional Wrestling, the new promotion that just started.
Yeah, that's right. What you call it? Not Don Callis. Don West.
He
started his own promotion.
Not Don West. It's not West.
Oh, I can't believe people are probably going to eat me alive in these comments.
Oh,
what is wow. The former president of TNA.
Yeah, so former TNA guy. So yeah, his new promotion. So they're getting back to that slowly, and that's what it should be. I think the Continental Championship probably needs a reset. When you have a champion like Okada who's not really defending the belt like that at the moment. And the thing is, Okada's a belt machine, right? Like Okada is just that guy. He is truly him.
Not anymore.
But no, Okada's still him. I believe he still has it. It just doesn't call for it. The situation does not call for it at all. And it will. 1,000% it will. I don't know when, but I'm believe. Honestly, he can still say the B word on TV and I'll still pop. It don't even matter. It don't even matter at this point. But he still has it in him. But
they're gonna do a I have such a love-hate relationship with AEW because I hate the fact they can't make me love them because at the core I should be loving AEW, but they make it so hard. But Scott D'Amore, that's his name. Why we said everything but that. We said, what did we call him? Don West, Don Callis.
Don Callis.
We said everybody but that. Yes, it was Scott D'Amore. Collection of I'm gonna put this on the screen. He said you have a nice collection of cheap behind you. I think you mean heat.
He said the man said what he said.
He said what he said. It's cool.
What he said. Nah, man, listen.
Yeah, I think we went through the evolution of the TNT title. I think I changed your mind on two of them. I told you we was gonna have a good discussion about this because I wanted to make sure that you knew.
It's at its core, it's a pretty belt. I just have an issue with TV championships that are named after the TV show. You know what I mean? Because what if they would have left?
He meant championship.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah. I knew it was an autocorrect because it was one of those things like cheap behind you. I said maybe he mean meat.
Yeah. Imagine.
I was like,
I'm like, yo, does he know something that I don't know? Like when you turn them on, those are all cardboard pieces that you just flip down.
It's just a sign. Look, it's nothing to see here. It's like, oh no, it fell down.
Nah, man, but what you call it?
Look, you said autocorrect. Autocorrect got him.
it would have sucked.
Look, I got the camera angled a certain way because I have a whole run when the TNT go. I didn't replay it. I said it's empty now. I want people to see. Oh, he just lied. He got empty spots. No, trust me. They're only empty because they're right next to me.
I feel bad for Cliff because what if his phone would have died and he would have came back like, damn, I could have told him it was autocorrect.
Cliff, we appreciate you joining in this evolution of the TNT title. I'm gonna put this is probably my favorite version of it. I thought I put the light well enough that it wouldn't like mess with the angle, but it's still messing with the angle because you keep saying the light. But oh yeah. I love this version. I know you don't like the green, but now you have an appreciation for it.
The green is crazy. I do like the white strap though.
Yes, and I know he will always say, "Does the strap matter?" So it does in this case when it comes to the TNT title. And I think that if we continue, because Tony Khan had something magical when it was working with this, where, and I know it can get expensive, where you should have one belt that's like the default until the person debuts their championship, because I know certain things might cause for, got to make a quick time change. Something happened. You got to get the belt off a person. I get that part. But look what he did with the trios belt. The Dark Order. I'm sorry. Yeah. Aleister Black and not the Dark Order. Why am I drawing a blank? House of Black.
Claim? Oh, when they had the House of Black belts?
Yeah, when they had the blackout belt, which was originally made by Snaps and Straps. Cool looking belt. It
You
was
know who had a
perfect
crazy
for him.
strap? The trios that acclaimed. The
Yeah,
pink,
that's
the
what I was
pink.
getting to next. The pink with the
That was
sesame.
oh, that was. I'm not gonna hold you. I like when Bullet Club Gold. They had the 3 strap. They had every single one. They had the Ring of Honor. They had the
And both
original.
sets of them. And
Yeah,
the
they had every
pinkies.
single 3. That was dope. I enjoyed that a lot.
And I thought that was so cool that they did that because it made the acclaim. So, and then the only thing is, Tony, you can sell more than just like a limited number. You can sell more when people would actually buy them. Because I know people are dying to buy belts, but come on, man.
He sells them at the show. He has a couple belts at the show.
Yeah, like
Last
three
time I
for
saw,
$1,000
yeah, it was
because they're
pretty.
signed. Yeah, because they're signed.
It's
Listen,
crazy. I'm not gonna hold you.
I
It's a
know
little
somebody that
crazy.
got a belt signed and is regretting it, but I ain't gonna say his name out too loud. But I am looking for signatures. I'm starting to get signatures. Hopefully, people won't just sign on the
Yo,
X
I'm not
like
gonna hold you.
somebody did.
I'm upset. I'm upset. So the guy hooks me up with an AEW World Championship belt, right? So Brandy was going back down to North Carolina. There's a big wrestling con called WrestleCade. So I gave the belt to Brandy. I was like, yo, Brandy, get this signed by Swerve for me. Please get this signed by Swerve. I'll send you the bread. 2 days after Brandy left back to North Carolina, Swerve announced to go to New York City Comic Con.
That's why
And
I was wondering how you took the picture when I was saying he had a belt.
I
Because you sent the belt to him.
was he was done. He was up here. He was up here. He was dealing with some family things. And then he came, then he went back down. I was like, yo, Brandy, before you go back down, take the belt with you. Just take the belt with you. I don't have to ship it down. Brandy would have shipped it to me, but those belts have some weight. And I don't know about you. I don't feel like paying shipping, going and coming back. That's absolutely insanity. But
You would have spent about $30 on shipping, and then you would have had to pack him. But we
I would
gotta.
have been heated.
Did you see this? This is a good. He said, "I recently purchased the AEW Championship. Now I'm curious to know how much you paid for it. I've been
Facts.
considering buying the TNT Championship since they don't have the TBS for sale. I need an AEW price to go down to WWE prices, and that's because I think their maker WWE basically has a lock on these type of belts in the manufacturer to make them. I don't think AEW has found a manufacturer that can produce them because when they first introduced the AEW belt, they went into a whole depth about what type of stones they put on there, what type of metal they use. They're using a different strap because a lot of people complain about the straps for the belt. So they put a lot of thought into the belt. But when you're producing for the masses, if you ever put a WWE belt, most people get them re-leathered. Some people get them re-leathered. Some people go with the leather. I don't think that some of the details that they put into that AEW belt mattered as much as what they were trying to produce, which is insane to me because if they would have just put a belt out at a certain price, people will get it restoned if they want it. People will get it re-leathered if they want it. People will do things to upgrade. I've seen people take the center plate off, add weights to it, so it has more weight to it. So people customize their belts the way that they want, and it's crazy because come on, Tony, people want to buy these belts. People want to have these belts. I've seen the official TNT belt from Tony Khan. It just has a shine to it. It was the red one. It just has this shine, unlike any other belt I've seen. I'm like, whoa! It actually just looks like it's just like you couldn't take your eyes off of it. Now, don't get me wrong, still love my belts. Um, so I'm gonna just say that about it. I know I just went on a whole rant about belts, but come on, Tony, we need to buy these belts. 'Cause I have a trios already. I kind of wanted that Dark Order one, but I mean, take it. House of Black, but hearing the story about it, I kind of said maybe I don't want it as much because of what happened to it. So, yep. Oh, here we go. $911 off Amazon Shop.
Woo!
It was $950 on it because when it first came out, I think it was $699, $599 or $699, and then it was like when they re-released it, it went up. It just keeps going up.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy price. I'm not gonna lie to
It
you.
keeps going up. It is almost like IWGP prices because they only produce that belt certain times a year, and when they do, it's a hefty price.
People listen. People support their hobbies. I was at the con and I met this guy who this cool kid who collects figurines, and he told me he spent $5,000 on a life size figurine, and I thought he was insane. I thought he was crazy.
Everybody, everybody has their thing, and I will tell you this: get what you want because that's what you love, but just know what your price range is. Don't, and I tell people this all the time: don't spend $600 on a belt on Monday when if you wait till Tuesday it might be 500. And if you wait till Wednesday, it might be $450. Because you still
Fact.
want it on Monday, you'll still want it. And I'll tell you this: $5,000 on a figurine. I think the only thing I might would even got close to spending that much money on is an instrument, and that's because I knew what I was getting. I'm like, yep, I would spend that much on maybe an
This
instrument.
is this is
Uh,
my hobby right here, collecting comics.
is that the
This is
one with
this
the
is my
signatures on
shebang.
it?
Yeah, this is the one with the signatures on it. It's absolutely insane. So as you can see, this is a Power Ranger comic, and I have maybe like 10 Ranger signatures on this. You
Mhm.
might be thinking, if you collect comics, you might be thinking to yourself, Chano, how come you just didn't get the comic cracked to get those signatures? One, I don't want to crack it because it's a $30 fee to crack it. Two, when you get things graded, you need a witness. You literally need somebody from the CGC to hold your hand to go to each and every single ranger while they sign it, and then go get a grading witness to come back. Three, I added 3 more rangers to this. So I would have had to re-crack it again, have somebody hold my hand, and witness 3 more signatures. So I'm just having signing of the case. When I'm done with this, I'm just gonna epoxy it. But this is my hobby.
One of many. One of many.
Love my rangers.
And Cliff, I can tell you that version 4 is probably my favorite version of the belt. Better than version 5. I will tell you this: that version 4, the IWGP belt. Oh my god,
Which one? Which one's on version 4? The one with the like the wing tips?
no, that's the Okada, Kenny Omega, AJ Styles, all of them had version 4. The most popular one that you see the most of.
Was
That's version 4.
okay. I'll
I
look it
would
up.
get it, but it's all the way across the room, and I got to step over,
No, no,
the
you're good.
TNT
I
titles
know
right here.
your belt collection crazy.
And look, and of course he said, just show them. I hate you. I'm trying to look. We almost at the 2 hour mark, and I'm trying to get us out of here because we had a special start time, so people could sit there and watch some NXT, could join us in and discuss this evolution. But the comments of he keep coming. He said, "I was just mad, didn't buy it when I had a chance." Oh man, I'm mad I didn't buy the AEW belt the first day it came in, but it was out of my price range. But I told myself it's too much. But yeah, that's what I said. I literally had that. But you'll appreciate this, Chano. When that Roman Reigns belt came out, it was in my cart. When I went to hit checkout, it was sold out.
I'm not gonna hold you. So I don't know if you guys see right here, but this WWE Championship right here, this is the deluxe one. This is the one that's originally like market for like $1,100, but I bought it at like a 45% off. So I got it for like 5 and change. So yeah, I do spend a little bit of money, but I'm not gonna hold you though. When the belt came in, I realized most of this belt is just leather.
You like, why does this plate stick to these look this what? Oh, it's just a water sidebar. Oh, it's just this.
Yeah, it's
You're
something
like,
like
oh
I paid for leather. And
yeah.
like if you feel it, like it feels good. Like it's a nice belt, but it's mostly leather. I'm not gonna hold you. Like this isn't even a plate. Like in between
That's
these
the
two W's is just leather. It's
Elite
just a leather
Series.
belt.
Well, brother, tell the people where they can find you.
All right, so on Twitter you can find me at CHANCKO underscore. I think that's the same thing for Instagram underscore CHAN 3 O's. But mostly just follow me on Twitter, man. I don't really like anybody following me on IG because I do post a lot of my son, a lot of personal things. My son is cute. But yeah, man, follow me on Twitter. I do talk a lot of wrestling. I do talk a lot of sports. It's NBA season, so if you want to watch me freak out every single time the Knicks lose, by all means. I was having a nervous breakdown with Hugh before we hit record to the point where I had to turn off the TV. We was getting smacked by 25. It's crazy,
Oh,
man.
it's a and it's saying because that's why I said he likes the sports. If anybody knows me, I know a little bit about the sports, but I know more about these belts. So now we can officially say we've had all sides. No, we haven't had all sides of the ring.
Oh, you're missing one, but he's still on vacay.
Yeah,
I,
so in my mind, we've had all the sides of the ring because he's too busy being a professional wrestler and don't have time for us with these championships. But we had the 4 sides of the ring on. Still not the Wayne favorite was on. He made 2 appearances. Um, and I think the founder made 2 appearances.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we had all
Me
4 sides of the ring going.
me and Brandy got one. We gotta catch up to the Hernandez brothers.
Yeah,
Ironically, all of them are related. I'm the only non-related one to the other 4 sides.
which is
Ain't that
insane
crazy?
because in my mind you're related. We just say, "Oh, that's the other cousin." That's how we relate you. That's how I mean. We like he's the cousin. He's got to be some kind of way. Because when we first met him, we was like, "Wait a minute, who's who?" We was like, "Wait a minute, no, Jacob is Channel's brother." He was like, "No, Jacob is
No,
the
no,
cousin to them." And
no. Jake. Yeah, Jacob is Brandon. So is Brandon Jacob? Those are brothers, right? Martin and Marcus, they're brothers. They're cousins, and then Aunt is their cousin. Me, Brandy, and Jacob, we go back for like maybe like 10 years,
yeah,
and I
you're the
randomly
cousin.
got into so like they're my boys. So they called me. They was like, "Yo, you want to do a wrestling podcast?" I'm like wrestling. All I know is the bloodline. This bloodline story is amazing. Now look at me, like a year and some change later, I'm over here watching AEW, and I have 2 belts. I didn't own the championship belt before I started this podcast. I promise you.
Really?
I no.
No, you have 3
I
belts, just not
yeah.
one in
Now
your
I got
possession.
yeah. I do got 3 belts. It's insanity, man. I got 3 championships now, and
It escalates real
it's
fast. You tax
addicting.
too.
It's
Mhm.
addicting. I had 4, but my 4th one was my fantasy football league championship belt that I got to go get back this season if injuries stop touching me where I don't want to be touched.
I can tell you, I think me and you are going to add another belt to our collection when we get those 3 count trivia tag belts.
That's
That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm
Right?
not gonna hold you. I don't know, man. Bucking like a Mark and Rick 8-bit, those they know they trivia.
And that's fine. That's cool.
I'm not
It's
gonna hold
fine.
you.
Because
If
remember,
you
everybody counted us out in the first season, and look who came out on top.
listen,
That's all I'm saying.
I'm not gonna say me and Brandy have a chance because
Y'all the bitch
Martin hates
brothers.
us.
Right.
Yeah, Martin
Mark,
hates us. Now
watch, we're gonna
Martin
get a
hates us.
question. Mark will be like, new category. We're like, what's the category? Name the stones. How many stones were in the first ever WWE championship that was held by? And you're like, first time it didn't
I,
have stones. Incorrect. There was one. How
listen,
many stones are on the AEW World Championship?
I
746.
told
Incorrect. 892.
I told Martin, I was like, yo, honestly, the only questions I want on my trivia show is how do you spell John Cena? Those are the only kind of questions I want. Spell that
Yeah, he
wrestler.
gave all the. I will say he gave all the easy questions out in the first couple rounds because I was yelling
Nah,
at the screen. I was like, "Oh my god, I know this one." But
it's terrifying. If you
if you
guys
want
want to
to,
if you
yeah, I
want
was
to
just saying,
see guys squirm and scream and you want to hear some trivia questions that make you go, ah damn, go watch 3 Count Trivia on our YouTube channel at 4 Sides of the Ring. It's infuriating. We also have something called Opinionated on. Think of Pardon the Interruption meets wrestling. It's intriguing. I'm on every single episode, and spoiler, I lose every single time.
who won the first episode? Who won the inaugural episode? I'm just
You
curious.
won. You won the
Oh, this
inaugural
guy.
episode.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you won it.
I'm
I
just waiting
shit.
for my final stuff.
I got eliminated for nonsense.
You did. I'm not even gonna. You did multiple times,
Nonsense.
but you voted for yourself one time. That was the hilarious part.
Oh no. Yeah. I was heated. I was heated.
Using your feelings, using your one
thousand,
feeling that day.
1,000%, 1,000%. Listen, if you want to watch me rage, watch Opinionated. When I get eliminated, when I feel like I shouldn't have. The last episode of Opinionated is called Opinionated Raw because it was a blacked episode.
And with that being said, make sure to comment your thoughts because as you can see from this show, we engage in the comments the entire show. Don't forget to turn on that notification button so you never miss a chance when we go live. We go live on Instagram. I'm sorry, not Instagram, X, Facebook, and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, which include that's Dwayne's noise, of course, Instagram at championship culture underscore. Don't forget to follow the flagship show on Wrestling Realm. And if you want to see all the other seasons of Championship Culture, go to youtube.com/wrestling realm and look for the playlist Championship Culture. We got season 1, season 2, and season 3, which is well underway. Um, and tune in every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for the next episode of Championship Culture. And I think next week is going to be interesting, just like this week was. But I want to thank everybody for watching. And remember, every belt has a story, and I can't wait to hear yours.
I'm the guy.
You can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm.